Hi, and welcome to Talking with Giants. I'm your host, Scott Schilling. Now, I've been asked by a number of people, what is Talking with Giants all about? Well, as a speaker, trainer, author, business coach, and now TV show host, I've had the opportunity to share the stage, meet, and be around some of the best. And quite frankly, I wanted to learn from them. And so I got to spend time and ask questions, and it was just amazing how much that they were willing to give. Well, I want you to have that same opportunity, so we've created Talking with Giants TV. You know, it's really about sharing the good news, the information. People need hope and inspiration today. We want to do everything we can to do exactly that. So, in fact, let me share my pre-show prayer with you. Lord, allow the words that I share today to impact 100% of the lives in this audience positively in one way, shape, or form. Only you know who you've sent to watch this show. Allow me to do the best I can to share that message, be a vehicle and of service to you. For me, it's all about high intention and low attachment. I hope each and every one of you come away with something great here today, and I know with this guest, you are certainly going to do it. I have never seen anybody have Christian speed painter on their business card before my guest, Lance Brown. It's awesome. Great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So tell me how a guy, and we've done a little research on you, how does a colorblind guy become a speed painter?
Well, I'll tell you, it's not easy. And being colorblind has been something that I've struggled with my whole life, and quite frankly, I've hidden from it. Colorblind is not something you want on your resume as an artist. And so being something that was hidden for so long, I've learned to deal with it. But now that I'm doing this, working for God essentially, I can shout it from the mountaintop and know that I've got God's help, but also the family that He's given me. It's funny when I have to ask my 5-year-old, what color is this?
That's awesome. You know, again, I know that we were talking a little bit earlier, and you went kind of the traditional route like so many people do. You're a graphic artist, and you were telling me you were totally unfulfilled by that.
Yeah, I went to the Art Institute of Dallas, and there I learned how to do computer art. And so I started a career in graphic design, and I did that for a few years. And it really, it got to me one day, I just realized I'm wasting my talent because I've always been good at drawing. And so that was actually the first time that I ever painted. But that became, the painting became more of the passion, and the work situation that I was in was just so unfulfilling, and it was a toxic environment.
So you went out and you gave it a shot painting, and to not such great success. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I did have a freelance business for many years where I was painting custom paintings on the side for friends and family and whoever got a hold of me. And then I started this ministry in 2009 when my church asked the congregation to submit artwork of Christ. And so that was the first painting of Jesus that I ever did. And then a few weeks later, they asked me to do it on stage. And they showed me a video of some other guy doing it. So this was the first exposure I ever had to speed painting. I had no idea what it was or how I was going to do that. And so I was very apprehensive. Nobody had ever watched me paint like that.
So you talk about a true leap of faith. What did that look like?
Sure. Yeah, I took a leap of faith shortly after that first performance, and I got laid off from my corporate job and thought, hey, this is something that God gave me. I think I'm going to go for it. And so I fell flat on my face to get to the point, and I had to go back to the corporate world.
And so now the good news is you're doing what you're doing for Christ, and you're doing some amazing work. How about if we see a demonstration?
Sure.
Can you paint us a little picture?
I'd love to.
Awesome. Let's take a look. Lance is going to do this in, I don't know if he'll break the world record, but he's going to go after it. He's going to go awful hard, awful fast. Let's take a watch.
Sweet Lord, I've lost my way, stumble around all day. I try to stand up straight, but then I tumble down again. A cell with no wind. Console me, for I fear, sweet Lord. Have mercy on me. I'm blind, I want to see. And though life's cutting down near the bone, and my soul's all alone, I know I'm not alone. Yes, you're always near, sweet Lord. Jesus, your Lord, my King, so worthy of worshiping, and the birds sing. Jesus, your Lord on high, save this sinner, Lord, I cry. But get me to the cross, sweet Lord. Get me to the cross, sweet Lord. I know they pray for me to be all you'd have me be. Please come and ease my worried mind. Devil, I decline, but your wares look mighty fine. I've found the only way. Jesus, you're my Lord, my King, so worthy of worshiping, and the birds sing. Jesus, you are Lord on high. Save this sinner, Lord, I cry. Get me to the cross, sweet Lord. Get me to the cross, sweet Lord. Get me to the cross, get me to the cross, get me to the cross, sweet Lord. Get me to the cross, get me to the cross, get me to the cross. To the cross. If there's a river of darkness running through your mind, walk the world as a stranger, find it so unkind. If doubt, dread, and hopelessness is all you feel, well, how will you deal? Well, now know there's someone to turn to, and please do it now. Take a deep breath in your weary head, do bow. Cry out to your Maker, begin to heal. Believe me, I know you gotta pray. When you don't have a prayer, you gotta pray. When you don't have a prayer, we've each had those times when we just feel so low. This old world, it's not heaven, but we've got to know God is always near and holding out His hand for every woman and man. Say 'em loud. Prayers of forgiveness, prayers for minds of peace, prayers for our neighbors and our enemies, prayers for all He's done and all you're thankful for. He's got so much in store, you gotta pray. When you don't have a prayer,
intriguing to just watch you do that. What you must be seeing. What are you feeling when you're doing that?
Well, the first time I ever did this, I was caught off guard because it was such a worship experience for me. So every time I do this, it's such an awesome personal worship experience. And I got to catch my breath. It's just such a different way to connect with the Holy Spirit.
It just, you know, I was watching your actions, and I wasn't fully expecting you to flip it upside down, so I'm trying to and I'm watching very closely everything you're doing, and it was like a storyboard going on.
Yeah.
You know, what a beautiful story you were telling there, and then all of a sudden they have it flip, and it's like, oh, something totally new.
Yeah.
Is it the same every time you do it? Is it different?
It does change from time to time. This is the one that I do most often, but I do paint different pictures sometimes on the way to that final image, say for Christmas or, you know, a special occasion where I may paint the manger scene.
So how do you use this as your ministry then? I know that we were talking earlier and you said the good folks at Watermark Church saw one of your YouTube videos and kind of reignited the fire. Share that story with everybody if you would.
Yeah, in 2013, I actually went through some really tough times with my family, and just some things that happened just beat me down. And at that point, I just decided I didn't have room for this in my life anymore, literally, because of the situation that we were in. And at that point, I really felt like I died mentally and spiritually and physically at that point, and just really didn't want to go on. And so I took this website down, and then what I forgot to do was take the YouTube videos down. So Watermark Church found the videos and asked me to come paint for them in late 2013, and it really reignited my passion and reminded me why I wanted to do this in the first place.
Yeah, it's an amazing ministry. I know you quote 1 Thessalonians 4:11, make it your ambition to lead a quiet life, to mind your own business, and to work with your hands. I love your brushes.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it just is amazing to me that you found something that just you totally connect with.
Yeah.
How does that feel? I mean, when you're in front of a major audience, how does that feel to be able to do that and to transfer that message to them?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I always do before a performance is pray. And I pray for God to fill me up with the Spirit so that I can be poured out. I pray that He would use me and use what I'm doing to speak to people personally and individually, because this is just a way for Him to communicate with people. I'm the vessel. And so through the visuals, through that experience, He can speak to people, and it's very moving.
You know, I was reviewing your website, paintedchrist.com, and was reading a number of the testimonials. And are there any in particular that that really stick out? You know, you got that, wow, I did good?
Yeah. In particular, it was very recent, and it was a principal at a school, and he said that in all my years of ministry, I've never seen anything as amazing as what Lance did for us. And so that's one of the best compliments I could ever get. You know, he's been around, he's seen a lot, and to say that about what I'm doing, man, that was very encouraging.
I know sometimes we feel that we don't touch as many people as we want, and I always go back to Mother Teresa's quote, if you can't feed 100, feed one.
Yeah.
You know, make a difference. I got to believe every time you do this, there's some particular something that happens.
Yeah, I get grown men that come up to me crying because of the way that this spoke to them. And I just know that God's using me. He's answering that prayer for God to use me.
So how big is this palette here?
This one is 3 foot by 4.
3 by 4, but you do a much larger one, right?
Yeah, typically I use a 4 foot by 5 foot canvas.
And how long does it take to speed paint.
Yeah,
that.
about 5 to 6 minutes.
So it doesn't really
Yeah.
add a whole bunch of time to it.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. Do you, when you first started this, where did the inspiration for the particular visions come from?
Well, I actually got some advice from another artist who I was looking at his work and just asked him, frankly, could I paint your pictures? Because I didn't know what else to do, and I wanted to do this. And he gave me some great advice. He said, pray for God to show you your own image. It's going to be much more rewarding if you have something that you can call your own. And so this picture came out of that prayer. And this image, this performance, has propelled everything that I've done.
That's awesome. So again, looking at your site, I saw that you've got quite a few appearances. What would, in a perfect world, how would you see your ministry growing? Where would you take this?
Well, right now, I've been literally across the world to different countries. In fact, I'll be going to Germany in September to do street ministry with Gateway Church. One of my prayers right now is that I would reach millions, that I would get to minister in every state of the United States. And so just for God to continue to put me in front of people that are willing to join in this mission that I'm on.
You know, as soon as you were saying that, it reminded me of a friend, Charmaine Hammond, did a gratitude tour around the United States and through Canada, and actually said, I just want to spread gratitude, and got actually shared it to an audience, and a company that had RVs sponsored the RV, and they made this multi-city stop. I don't know why, I just saw that picture. I could see you just kind of barnstorming and doing that.
Just take it on the road. Well, I did my first little bit of street ministry when I was in Mississippi recently, and I needed to create this painting, but I had to get to the airport. And so I went to the art store and just popped the canvas up right outside the front door and started painting. And a group of people gathered and watched that, and I got emails from those people. In fact, I got a booking from one of those people that were there and has invited me to come back in early May. And so you just never know what could happen, who could be there, who could be watching, and how God can use that for them.
Well, even how this came about. Normally, many of us go to the Ziegler devotionals on Monday morning. Zig always used to say the most important meeting of the week was that 7:30 to 8 o'clock devotional every Monday morning. Our executive producer, Dean Lindsay, was there. I happened to be out of town that day, and he saw you, and he said, man, I got a great guest for the show. You've got to bring him on because he's got a message.
Yeah, it was awesome. You know, I'm thankful for each and every opportunity. That Ziegler meeting was something that I just offered to do, to share this with people. And I keep myself open to those opportunities because, again, you never know how God could use me. And, you know, that resulted in this, and who knows who's going to be watching, how this might affect them.
You know, I know it's already had a positive effect on me. Just even studying and seeing your faith in, you know, doing it, going back into corporate, doing it again, kind of sometimes the path isn't straight and narrow, is it?
No, in fact, I prayed for many years for God to reveal my purpose because I knew that that graphic design corporate job wasn't fulfilling, and it wasn't the life that God wanted for me. And so it was a long journey, and there were ups and downs, and I failed. I quit. And, you know, if God has a job for you, He's going to find a way to get your attention and show you what He wants you to do. And, man, He got my attention, and I couldn't be happier. I'm so full of joy right now that I get to do this. I get to provide for my family, do what I'm passionate about, and work for God, essentially.
So you've got a wife and 3 kids. How do they feel about this? I mean, they've got to be immensely proud.
They are. And, you know, I get this little note from my daughter. I have a 5-year-old, a 9-year-old, and then a 10-year-old. And so my 9-year-old gave me this note, and it was the top 25 reasons that she loved to watch Daddy paint. And man, I put that right in my Bible, and I often refer to that. It's so cool to show them the example of how I'm serving, how I'm using what God has given me to further the kingdom. And my wife is the rock, behind every good man is a good woman. And man, I couldn't do it without her.
Yeah, isn't that the truth for sure? I know it was funny when we made the decision to do the TV show, I came home and I said, Peggy, I got some news. She said, what's that? I said, I got a TV show. She goes, awesome. I said, that's it? She goes, yeah, what else?
Yeah,
it's like, so that little bit of encouragement
let's do it.
Is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You're talking about your little girl. My little girl's 27, and we probably enjoy more daddy-daughter dates today than we ever have.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing what an imprint we have the ability to leave, and really take that next generation and help them, become great leaders. And I got a great son who's 28 as well. It's hard to believe I'm only 29 and I got kids that old. But no, it's not that hard. Anyway, it's so cool to see something like this. I mean, I'm trying to picture. I know that for me personally, and actually I learned this from Zig, or actually I've got the Zig quote on top of my memory box, which is kind of foundational to me. You can have anything in life you want when you simply help enough other people get what they want.
Yeah.
That's on top of my memory box, but I actually learned the memory box technique from John Deely, a great mastermind expert here in Dallas, that said, there's going to be times when you're down, you've got to have a place to to share those ups, right? And so I've got that memory box. And so again, when you were talking about that list of 25 things, or 25 reasons I'd love to watch my dad paint, it took me back to my memory box in some of those things. What other messages like that have you gotten either from the family or outside the family?
Well, I get notes from people all the time that have purchased my art or have seen me paint, and they tell me how my artwork has ministered to them as it's hanging on the wall, as they may be going through a tough time, and it has encouraged them and given them strength. They can look at that and pray and have that visual of Jesus right there in front of them. And to know that the artwork is ministering, even after it leaves me, it's 24 hours a day, it's working, and God's working through that, and the artwork is alive. And so to get those notes from people and realize how God is using me and how widespread I'm being used is just amazing. It's incredible.
I've mentioned it many times that a real foundational verse for me and kind of the part of the impetus of the show is Jeremiah 29:11. So, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, to give you hope and a future. Mm-hmm. It just made me think, do you ever do kind of verse specific, or do you ever get motivated in a verse specific mode?
I do. In fact, when I start a painting and start to design that performance, I always think of the end goal. And I use Scripture to get those visuals sometimes. And so, the Word is alive. It's inspirational.
That's awesome. That's so cool. How can we support you? How can we help you get the message out? What can we do?
Yeah, you can go to my website and share that with your friends and family. I've got all the social media there on the website, and just sharing my information. Again, you never know how God can use it. And so I also have an online store, and so everything that's purchased helps to further my ministry and keep me going and do the things that God has planned.
That's awesome. It's truly inspirational, and I know that, the art of storytelling is so amazing. As a speaker and a trainer, it's really about the ability to tell a story. Now, I do it verbally, but you're doing it visually, and quite frankly, there are more visual learners than there are auditory learners, so I'm just amazed at how powerful it is, and what we can, what it could become. It'd be so cool to get you so busy.
Yeah.
We don't want you away from your family too much.
Well, no,
So.
and in fact, I take them with me a lot of times. But having that visual, as you mentioned, it's something that brings it to life. But also, art is left up to interpretation, and with God speaking to people personally and individually through this art, it comes across different to every individual, and so. It's speaking to people. It's incredible.
It's so cool. I just want to reach out to everybody and kind of give them the opportunity to understand that we're all gifted differently. My dad spoke for the United Way for 30 years, never got paid a penny, but he was out there speaking, and I think that's probably where my desire to go off speaking was. There's gifting around us all over the place. Really hone your own gift, and I just talk about sitting on a rock from time to time. I sit and my prayer every day is actually fairly simple. God, I pray the Lord's Prayer because that's what He taught us to pray, and then I simply ask, God, give me the wisdom and guidance today to do what You would have me do. And then I just sit on a rock and I'm quiet. It tends to bring me what I need. What do you do in your quiet times? I know you've got to have them in a very similar way to get this inspiration.
Yeah, I just pray for God to use me, and I give the day to Him. Whatever You want me to do, however You want to use me, I'm available. I want to make myself available to Him. And from that, who knows what's going to happen. But, I use that as my motivation, and knowing that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Well,
everybody, I encourage you, please go to paintedchrist.com. Learn about Lance. He's got an amazing ministry here, and quite frankly, more people need to see it. I'm so thankful to Dean Lindsay, our executive producer, for hooking Lance and I up together so that we could do this. I mean, this is an amazing ministry that can touch lives in such a simple way. As I've said in other shows, we each have our individual sphere of influence in the way that we go about it. Mine happens to be speaking and training and writing most of the time. Lance's happens to be painting, and it's just absolutely amazing what we can do. Thank you so much for being with us here on Talking with Giants. We are so excited about what's going on. Look forward to seeing you again next week.